everybody, in this video I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful Christmas wreath that I first saw on Jenna DeAngeles' YouTube channel, and she made it out of the pages of an old book. But I decided to make it a little more festive by using wrapping paper that I found at Hobby Lobby and a beautiful ornament for the middle. Let's get started. Now for this wreath, what you'll need is a stapler with plenty of staples, a punch to make 2 holes, a glue gun and plenty of glue sticks, a pencil, a ruler, plenty of tape, see-through tape preferably, some string to hang your wreath, a pair of scissors, foam or cardstock that's flexible but hard enough that it won't be too bendy. And here I have these 2 ribbon containers that are all used up. These are going to be to make my circles, but you could use some other kind of foam board or some other hard kind of paper for your backing. And then of course you'll need wrapping paper or some other kind of paper. Now I found this wrapping paper at Hobby Lobby, and I actually used this for another project, which I'll provide a link for if you want to find out how to make that. But I really like this paper because the inside of it is white, but it has the design that's on the outside actually shows through on the inside. So I really like that, and this I found during the Christmas half-off sale. And then there's also something I'll be using for the middle, but I'll show you that later. And if there's anything else that I forgot, I will also show that later. Now I'll be using the back of this roll of ribbon as the base of my wreath, and what I did was I punched 2 holes in the top, and I'll be hanging string from this. But before I add the string to it, what I want to do is place it face down like this, and I'm going to put this on a piece of my wrapping paper because I'll use this to cover the back up once I'm finished adding the string. So I'm just going to draw all around, draw a circle on it, and then I'll cut out the circle and I'll add the string to my base. Now I finished cutting out the circle out of my wrapping paper, and I added the string to the base of my wreath. And what I'll do is add a little bit of hot glue on each of these just so that they don't come loose at some point. Now what I'll do is I'll take my glue stick and I'll just glue this onto the back of my base like this. Now that I finished gluing the wrapping paper in the back of my base, the next thing I did was I drew a smaller circle inside of my large circle, and I used this applesauce container and a Sharpie. And this one is about 5.5 inches, my big circle, and this one is about 3 inches in diameter. Now you can make your big circle larger than this if you want. That just means that your wreath will be larger and you'll actually end up needing more petals. So this is the perfect size for this base. So now that I finished this, I'll put this aside and get started on my petals. Now for my petals, I cut pieces of paper out of my wrapping paper, and I made my paper 6.5 by 7.5 inches. I tried different sizes, and that's the size that I ended up liking the most. Now on Jenna DeAngeles' YouTube page, she puts her finger here and she rolls up her petals like this, but I found that I wasn't very good at making a perfect petal like that. So if you like, you can do it that way, but I found that it was easier for me to actually make a cone like this. And what I did was I made this 6 by 7 inches, and I rolled it up and I added some tape on the back, and you can make this out of cardstock or foam. And then I just use this to make my petals, and I find it much easier. So the first thing I do is I get my tape, because I find it easier if I get a piece of tape ready, because you're going to be taping it closed. And I hold my tape in one finger, and then I place the cone a little bit above the corner of my paper, and then I'll take my paper and just wrap it around this cone and tuck it under, and then just wrap it around the cone like this. And then what you do is you tape the back of this with your tape that you have ready, and then you simply slide out the cone and you can use it again. For this wreath, I used approximately 60 of these cones, which I sometimes call petals, in my video. If you use a larger circle, you'll need more of them. Now, if you want to make your petal the way Jenna DeAngeles does on her YouTube page, you simply place your finger down here, and then you twist this inwards until you're making a cone at the very tip. Twist it, and then you tape the top here, the back here, and then there you have a beautiful petal. Now what I need to do to each of my petals before I attach them to my base is staple the base of each one, staple the bottom of each one. So I'll pinch it about right here, 3/4 to 1 inch up, and then I'll just staple it right down there like this. So what you do is you flatten the base down here, flatten it, and then staple it. And you'll do this to each of your petals before you hot glue them to your base. Now I've started adding the petals to my wreath, and I'll show you how to do that. What you do is you take your little petal and take your string out of the way so you don't glue that down by mistake. Take some hot glue, place it inside of your large circle, and then simply take your petal and press it downwards and push it as close to the other one as you can. And then you can add another one, place some hot glue. It's okay if you add the end of the string, and then simply place it down and press it downwards. Continue until you go all the way around the outer circle. Now I'm finishing up the last petal on my first row, and what I'll do when I add my second row is I'll cover these gaps that I have here, these spaces, I'll cover those with the petals of my second row. So I'll just finish adding this one here, my last petal of the first row, and then I'll show you what this looks like so far. Now I finished my first row of petals, and what I'll do with my second row is I'll add my second row inside of my first row. I'll start gluing them inside of the first row, and I'll start covering up some of these spaces that I have in between some of my petals with my second row. Your second row, you're going to go as close to this middle circle as you can, so that way these petals will be a little lower than the petals at the back. So here we go, starting on the second row. So I'll just add some glue here. I'll find the spaces in between, add some glue here, and press a petal as close to the middle as I can, and then I'll put it in between the gap made by these two petals here. I'll do the same thing here, add some hot glue, and then place this petal right here next to my first, but also making sure to cover up the gap here in between. If I can lift this up to show you. So there you go, that's what it looks like so far. Now I finished adding my second row, and this is what it looks like so far, and I have enough cones to add a smaller third row, so I think I'll go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you what it looks like once I'm finished. My third row is finished, so I've completely finished adding all my petals, and now what I'll do is I'll add this to the middle. And this is just shiny sticker paper that I found at Hobby Lobby, and I cut out a circle using my same applesauce container, and I will just peel off the back and stick this in the middle, and then I'll be adding something very special to the middle just to finish off the whole wreath. The last thing I'm going to do is just add a beautiful ornament to the middle, and I'll show it to you. And this I actually found at the dollar store, and I'm just going to hot glue it right in the middle. Now I finished making my Christmas wreath, and I actually hung it here in the entryway of my house on one of my round mirrors. And what I used to hang it up was a plastic suction cup hook that you use to hang up wreaths on the front of your door inside your house, and it worked out perfectly. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like it if you like this video, and please don't forget to share it with your friends. Thanks for watching, and happy holidays.